long time coming, and I'm very happy to finally be making it for you. Now, do keep in mind, this is aimed solely at console players, as I play on Xbox myself, and I know PC is an entirely different game, so make sure to keep that in mind when watching the video. I would also say this video is more helpful to people which are around the bronze to platinum ranks. In ranked mode, I would say maybe some people in diamond may get some information from this video, but for the most part, diamond and predator players will not find this video all that helpful. This is more for the players which are stuck in bronze to platinum, or just find it difficult and just play pubs and are really struggling even in pubs. So keep that in mind also when watching the video, that this guide is mostly for these sorts of players. If you do find any of this information helpful to you and you do enjoy the video, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. We've been growing absolutely amazingly recently, and I have to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you who have clicked the subscribe button already, and if you haven't, make sure you do subscribe for more regular Apex Legends content. But with all of that out the way, guys, let's get right into the video. So the first area we're going to touch upon in this guide on how to improve is in fact movement. And of course, I know a lot of people like to talk about movement in their guides, and that is because movement is one of the key factors in what makes you a good or bad Apex Legends player. Here to help me demonstrate why movement is so important in Apex Legends is my good friend Nachos Killer. As you can see on screen by his stats, he is very well experienced in Apex Legends and definitely well equipped to help me demonstrate why movement is so important in this game. Now, the first key area that we are going to cover is strafing and crouch spamming, and these are two very vital aspects of movement to incorporate into your game if you haven't already. Here is an example of what it looks like when you are not crouching and you are not strafing effectively in Apex. You are very static and very easy to hit. As you can see on screen here, Nachos Killer is very easy to hit. He is very slow moving and definitely an easy target for any oncoming opponents. But as you can see here, when he incorporates a much better strafe into his movement and some crouch spamming as well, he is definitely going to be a much harder target to hit for his enemies. Now, of course, you can incorporate a much faster strafe speed if you're using a weapon with a faster ADS movement time, such as an SMG or a pistol. Make sure to remember that when you're using an assault rifle or an LMG, when you're aiming down sights, your movement is in fact going to be slower than if you're using an SMG or a pistol. And as you can see on screen here, it is so easy to beam him when he is walking in one direction without crouch spamming or without strafing effectively. However, when we come back and do the same fight again, but this time incorporating movement and crouching, you'll see that it is much harder to hit Nachos Killer here, and in fact he does end up winning the fight. Now, of course, you only have to strafe and crouch spam at distances where it is applicable to do so, so really close range or even close to medium range, it is applicable to do so, but definitely at longer ranges you don't need to strafe as much, and you definitely don't need to be crouch spamming at longer ranges. And it is important to also note that Gibraltar is not necessarily the best character to strafe or crouch spam with, so with Gibraltar make sure you just focus solely on your accuracy, as he is more likely to just tank oncoming fire anyway. Another important area of movement to focus on is in fact when you're just free running from location to location. It is important not to always run in a dead straight line and to incorporate some slide jumps into your movement, not only to help you move faster, but also to make you a harder target to hit for people who might be watching from a nearby high ground or just watching from afar. Or if you come around a corner, if you're not running in a dead straight line, people are going to find it a little bit harder to hit you. You can even incorporate wall bouncing into these transitional moments. As you can see here, it is much harder for people to hit Nacho when he is wall bouncing off the wall to get to his location, rather than when he is just running around the corner. Now, another area which is key to focus on when trying to improve at Apex Legends is of course your accuracy. Now, this is an area which also goes hand in hand with your movement, as when you incorporate strafing and crouch spamming into your gameplay, you're going to find accuracy a little bit harder, and that is because you're going to obviously be moving around more, which means you're going to have to focus more on actually hitting your shots rather than when you're trying to be more stable and you're moving more slowly to hit your shots. But this is a very important transition to make, and one which I very much encourage you to work on when trying to improve and get better at Apex. My tips to improve your accuracy are of course to play with meta weapons which are effective, that you do feel comfortable with. So maybe you feel more comfortable with the R301 or Havoc than the R99. Although of course I do recommend that you practice with all of the meta weapons. Make sure you're comfortable when you're first starting out to improve your accuracy, and make sure that you are comfortable with the weapon, you understand the recoil pattern. And of course, to help understand the recoil pattern, you're only going to learn that through playing the game more with these weapons, or jumping into the firing range for an extended period of time and using it again and again and again to shoot the bots while strafing and crouch spamming. This is always going to help you remember how to control the gun through muscle memory, and of course it is just a case of rinse and repeat, doing it over and over again, practicing all the time. But make sure you do a level balance of firing range and pubs, as of course it is much harder to hit a moving target in pubs than it is to hit a static target in the firing range. Personally, I also find practicing with a friend in the firing range, doing 1v1s with them with a weapon of your choice, is a very helpful way to help improve your accuracy. You know that you're on a level playing field with that friend, and you know that you are of a similar skill level, so you should be downing each other all of the time. And of course it's important not to rage when you do go down, because of course it's all part of the process in learning how to use a weapon and how to improve your accuracy. You're doing it to improve, and if you're winning every time, you're certainly not improving. But of course the firing range with a friend is a great way to practice without ruining your stats in pubs, so make sure you give it a try if you have a friend who also wants to practice their accuracy. The next subject I quickly want to brush upon before ending this video, guys, is decision making. So many times when I'm playing pubs, I'm going to run into players which have 20 bombs and 4k damage badges that are running around on their own, getting absolutely destroyed, that maybe they get 1 or 2 kills every game. But of course then they're going to get run over by a full squad of 3 players playing together, and this is what I'm talking about when I talk about decision making. You should only push fights that you feel absolutely safe in, and you should only push fights when it's a fair 3-on-3. Now that's not to say you can't win 1 versus 3 fights, and of course it does feel amazing when you come out on top in those situations. However, you are running a huge risk of getting absolutely flattened, because in this game numbers matter, and 3 versus 1 situations are very, very hard to win. So make sure you run around with your squad most of the time, if not all of the time, and make sure you only engage in fights that you feel comfortable in and that you feel absolutely certain that you can get the upper hand in and take the advantage in early, and you don't just run head on into a squad of 3 players and get absolutely flattened by them. Knowing when to back off is also a huge factor in decision making, and if you're getting absolutely destroyed in a fight and you need to back off and heal, but it's too late because they've already pushed you, the chances are that you could have dipped and already gotten out of that fight at a much earlier point. So always look out for how the fight is going and which way the fight is swinging, and if you feel it's going in their favour, just dip out if you're a mobile character, or if you're a support character, hopefully your teammates will already be there. But of course, just make sure to get out of there if you feel it's going in their favour.